I'll make the rules. I'll make the rules. Gotta put Yoda aside here while we have a little chat about. Oh my God, it's me. We're upping the content quality a little bit. Okay, you can see that I have a camera now. If there's anything else you'd like to see me improve, let me know. You know, before you say lighting, I already know. I'm just a poor boy. But anyway, let's get on to the scheduled content. That's the part where you say sick intro Z. No, I'm just joking. Anyway, let's get into some of the best ways to kill scavs, some of the best scav killing strategy, and some of the best locations to kill scavs. And this is maybe geared towards some of the newer players, but veterans can definitely take advantage of some of these tips. So first off, some of my best tips for you if you're trying to kill scavs, because there's a lot of quests that need to kill scavs, like decontamination or Punisher Part 3 or the Peacekeeping mission. So it's important to know where some of the high traffic scav spawns are and some of the most contested scav places to get. Or, you know, that was bad. Anyway, I'm going to keep that in there. So my first tips for you are you either have to go really fast to these areas or really slow to these areas. When I pull up the map, I'll explain more. I'm going to pull up the map for every single thing except for labs or factory. So when I pull that up, I'll let you know what I mean. But you either want to get to the area where the scavs spawn very quickly, or you want to wait until later on in the raid. So more on that in a bit. Then, if you hear other people shooting and you think it's in one of your areas, you know best to avoid those areas now because your scavs are probably dead. Generally, they only spawn once per raid, and if you get anywhere from 6 to 10 scav kills in a raid, you know that was generally a pretty good raid. The most scav kills I ever got in like an actual raid was 16, and I was in it for the full length of time. So you know if you're getting in the high, like single digits to double digits, that's a pretty good raid for some quest progress or just in scav kills and in general. Now, my last tip, I think, is it goes twofold, and it's play during off-peak times. That can either mean in raid, like actual in-game time, where it's like going into dusk and coming out of dusk. So early on in your morning, so it's like your 4 a.m.s and your 22 p.m.s in Tarkov time. So generally, they have lower geared players, especially early on in the wipe, and the amount of congestion of PMCs is a little lower. There's less people trying to get necessarily scav kills and more of trying to use the cover of night to get their quests done. Also, say you're in Eastern time zone in America, you know that if you're up at 2 a.m. or you're on at 6 a.m., generally there's going to be less people on. It's different for every single time zone. I can't tell you what's best for your time zone. Only you can. I can't play in every single time zone, so just keep those in mind. Play some off-peak times. Now, we're going to get into the maps. I'm going to do a quick rundown of every single map, and maybe if you want it, I'll do a more in-depth guide for every single map. So we're going to start off with customs here, and basically, these are just my suggestions. This is not word of law or anything, but just some of my suggestions, and I'm just going to go through it quick. Of course, there's all the places that Reshala can spawn, you know, dorms, fortress, and old or new gas station, excuse me. So, not even going to talk about that. However, the 2, maybe 3 best places to get scav kills, in my opinion, on this map are this Gate 2 area up here by the rough roadblock, this little tanker area. You always seem to find tons of spawns there. And my personal favorite is this scav checkpoint area. There's a lot of scavs here that spawn early and late in the raid. So my suggestion to you is if you're trying to get scav kills and you spawn like right here on North Bridge, you sprint straight across and then try to get these scavs early because they generally spawn there. However, say you have a bad spawn, you're at Crossroads, generally these scavs are going to be gone by the time you get there. So while you're running your raid and while you get through your raid, maybe double back to it or find a place to hide out for a little bit until some of the PMCs go through and wait for some of the scav spawns. Generally waiting longer in raid, you're going to have more player scavs too, which also can help you with scav kills, but if you don't want to compete with those, and there's not much I can help you with. So just keep that in mind. Another great area to come back, especially later in customs, is this corner shop. You can get up to 3 scavs here sometimes, but generally my favorite area to check is this checkpoint woods. You're going to get 4 to 5 spawns here at all times. There's spawns like here occasionally and here, and you know, you can find a couple at Old Gas. Old Gas is very consistent. However, you do have a lot of traffic there, so generally those are dead raid. If you'd like more in-depth on customs, please let me know below. Now, Interchange is a little bit different. I only like 2 locations on this map because I don't necessarily like going into the mall, but if you're like to go into the mall, this is what I would suggest to you. So this is Ollie, where you come up right here. These are the stairs that lead from the outside. You can come in the underground right here. And generally, right in front of Ollie, especially early on, and very late in the raid, you're going to find a lot of scavs here. My other favorite spot in the mall would be by these escalators right in the middle, basically dead center of the mall. Tons of scavs on both the first and the second floor. But for the most part, the rest of Ollie in Idea, or the fronts of Ollie and Ideas, and the middle of the mall are your best place. Everywhere else in the mall is kind of barren. Occasionally you'll get one back here, but generally I am not sticking them inside the mall that long. Now, first floor Ollie, or basement parking lot Ollie, which is this map right here, underneath this entire area is a great spot to find scavs, especially late in raid. Especially late in raid. So keep that in mind. But my favorite spots are the power station. Almost always can find 2 here, and the highway. The problem with the highway is it is a high traffic area, especially with those going to railway. And the front of Emercom is a good place to find scavs if you're having trouble with scavs. However, with this being a very high traffic area, unless you're willing to stay very late in raid and wait for that 2nd to 3rd spawn of scavs, you're going to have some issues. So generally stick to power station and the underground area of Ollie. Those are my suggestions for Interchange. Now we're going to go on to Woods. Woods is a tricky one because Sherman can spawn in this giant area. It just gets bigger and bigger. You can spawn all over there. There's a lot of scavs there. I generally don't like going into the middle for my scav kills, and Woods is one that benefits more from, hey, the longer you're in raid, the more likely you are to run into scavs. Everyone knows Scav House, great spawns for scavs, always about 4 in this giant area, sometimes 5, and like 2 next to the house itself. However, with that being a high traffic area, it's basically hope you're coming in at the later half of the raid and other PMCs have already extracted. On the other side of the map, you're almost always going to find 1 or 2 scavs here or leading along the edge of this road and by this new camp area. So that's a good spot to look. Once again, though, it's an extract area, very high traffic, so you may be out of luck. My 2 favorite spots to look on Woods is actually at the top half of the map. I'm just going to cut a line here. It seems like to me no one goes on this side of the map. So that's generally where I like to look. My favorite spot is this new village area by the bridge extract. I always seem to find 3 to 4 scavs in this little village hut area. And then the actual huts where the cultists can spawn, where the second mark circle is, I always seem to find 2 over here. Now, my last spot I look up here is the scav bunker area. There's generally about 2 scavs there later on in the raid. All of these are later on into raid, and these are areas I would check if I'm trying to get kills on Woods. However, most of the time I'm going to try to get straight to bridge extract, look in this little village area, see what scavs are there, kill the scavs, and then hit the car extract out and just boogie and repeat. That is my suggestion for woods. Now, Shoreline, this map is great. Also, if you want to find all of these maps, they are on the Escape from Tarkov wiki. It's on the wiki. And some of them are better than others. I'm using some old maps, but then I'm very familiar with the game right now. So I just kind of like to know basically what's going on. I don't need to know exactly where Rock Bridge is or Weather Station. I kind of know what's going on. However, if you're newer for the game, the wiki is a great spot for some of this information. So, Shoreline. You know, I tend to avoid the super high traffic areas, and that would be the resort. If you go in very late into the resort, like we're talking 12 to 10 minutes left in the raid late to resort, you can find a lot of scavs up here. And the fact that the scav boss can spawn up there, it's not a bad place to check early on, except I personally don't like rushing resort because that's a lot of high traffic and that's a recipe to die. So generally, I don't like checking resort early on. That also means terminal, even though it's a very consistent spot to find scavs, I generally don't check it. However, terminal, you can have 2 spawns. Power station has a sniper scav, which spawns very consistently. So if you're looking for a sniper scav, power station. However, this is like a rush to get there. This is what I was talking about earlier. Try to get there very quickly. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem. Along with sniper scav, 2 other scavs can spawn in this area, which is generally a very good thing for you. So 3 scavs at power station if you're going quickly. I've noticed in this wipe, in previous wipes it was better, but in this wipe, gas station has been a little hit or miss with scavs. That's generally a decent place to check. Same with Scav Island. However, everyone knows about these spots and they're very high traffic. So generally I tend to avoid them. This little scav tower late in raid I think is a fantastic spot to kill scavs. So if you're looking for that, you know, later in raid, especially in the night raids, you'll almost always find 2 scavs in this area. So the scav tower, very good spot to check. But if you're looking specifically for scav kills and you're trying to go to low traffic areas, this little box truck. Later in raid, not right away. Maybe sometimes when you get there right away, if you get one of these spawns, you can get there about 5 minutes in the raid. You're almost always guaranteed to find the box truck scav. Then sometimes there's 2. I actually had a raid earlier where there's 3. And then by this little truck, or not truck, well, it's sort of by the truck, but there's these 2 boxes. There's another set of 2 scavs that can spawn there. So these are generally the spots I like to go to try to kill scavs. Everywhere else is very high traffic areas. These are generally lower traffic areas. Cottages is pretty good, but basically if you know it has a name on it or an X on it, people go here. So like best bet is box trucks, 2 crates, and scav tower. These are my favorite spots to kill scavs. If you happen to be one of the first people to extract on Road to Customs, there's almost always a scav there. Tunnel is kind of hit or miss. Last but certainly not least is Reserve. Now, I don't think there are too many quests to kill scavs on Reserve, and the only ones that come to mind are killing scavs in specific areas. But if not, I'll go through these scav spawns real quickly. But for your 2 quests is also probably your best spot to find scavs is underneath D2, so you know underground everywhere, or specifically the Hermetic Bunker underground. Now, basically the rest of Reserve is you can ignore all of this because you're not going to find hardly any scavs, if any scavs, back here. Same with up by Dome. Barely not going to find any scavs here at all. Generally your best bet to find any amount of scavs is this area right here and in front of Armored Train. Granted, raiders can spawn there too, but those are 2 of your best spots to find scavs. Of course, there's a few by helicopter and a few between nights, but with how small Reserve is and where all the high traffic areas are going to be in these 2 areas, this is probably your best bet to find scav kills. Underneath is very good if you're going late into raid, especially later on in raid. But if you're going early or hermetic bunker switch has been hit, generally there's going to be raiders out here or possibly underneath. So good luck to you. But that's basically all I have for this video. If you want more in-depth, more reasoning behind why I told you these spawns and some of these off spawns and some of these tricks, please let me know. I'll go map by map if I have to. If not, if you like the video or you find this content useful, please like and subscribe. Not because Baby Yoda told you to, but because it's good for the heart? Question mark? No, I'm just joking. Anyway, if there's anything else you want from me, put it down in the comments below. Would love to have a conversation. But last but not least, the most important thing you can do is have a great day.